Welcome back to another TEKDEP repair video. In today's edition, we'll be taking a look at the newest iPhone 15 Pro Max. That was released this year, September 22nd. So this is the blue titanium version that Apple implemented in their new 15 Pro and Pro Max lineup. For the teardown video, first we're gonna apply isopropyl alcohol 99% proof. We're gonna need a heated mat at a temperature set between 80 to 90 degrees. So for the screen, we need to make sure that we leave it standing for like a good 5 minutes in order for the glue to like loosen its resilience. And then we take out the panel lobe screws. After this, the best way to approach the extraction is to use a suction cup holder, and with a little bit of pressure by the palm, slowly lift and poke the screen with the pry tool. It is very important to make sure that you don't go too deep in the screen because those are very tiny screen. They're actually Super Retina XDR OLED. Compared to last year's model, it is the same specs, which is 120 Hertz frequency rate, supports HDR10 Dolby Vision, 1000 nits like regular brightness, and it peaks at 2000 nits. It is also a ceramic shield glass, but the only difference is that this time around the bezel is slightly thinner, so you want to be very careful going around the edge of the phone. It's about 89.8 screen to body ratio, 6.7 inches. So as we go working our way around the frame, there is like something that is noticeably different compared to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, is that once you start lifting the screen, you will notice there's like some sort of OCTA white hardened glue around the frame of the screen. So this has been implemented in order to like kind of reinforce the seal between the frame and the screen and make it more like dust proof and waterproof. The rating is still IP68. It doesn't really change the ratings, but it does make it slightly better when it comes to like resistance. As a matter of fact, like there have been some tests for the front screen, drop up to 6 feet like seems to have a better less chance to like break, because the design is slightly curved around the screen, so it's not like as flat as it was in the 14 Pro Max or the 13 Pro Max. There is a slight curve from the frame that kind of like covers a little bit of the edge of the front screen panel. So with all this, it makes it a little bit more durable, and that is a very good design that Apple thought of. However, for some reason, it is only available for the 15 Pro Max and 15 Pro. Like in the iPhone 15, they didn't use that little space, I guess, even though like it carries like the similar type body frame. So maybe you guys can let us know why like they didn't use it for the iPhone 15. Is it because it's a different rating, or is it like less packed than the 15 Pro Max? We still don't know exactly. But as we go forward with the teardown, we almost made it through like the extraction of screen. So keep in mind, this is the most common way to extract the front screen, and following these steps will make sure like you don't get any segment lines and you don't get any internal bleeding. It will just open like a book. Make sure you open it from the side where there is the power button, the volume button where resides the flex connection of the proximity sensor and the LCD. By the way, if you're looking for any parts or tools that you see in this video, Check out the links below if you're interested in mailing, repair, or data recovery service. Check us out at TEKDEP.com. We offer all those services. Moving on with the repair, we're going to have to take out the 6 tri-ring screw covering the metal bracket of the main logic board, which underneath sits the LCD flex connection and the proximity sensor. Then we're going to remove also the screws from the top speaker. We're going to remove the metal brackets holding the battery connection. Then we're going to remove the proximity sensor and the LCD flex connection. And there you have it, the newest iPhone 15 Pro display OLED. It is still a 1290 times 2796 pixels, and there goes like the first glance at the housing containing all the components of the newest iPhone 15 Pro Max. Right from the glance, we can see that there is a noticeable difference from the rear camera aspect and the charging dock aspect. First of all, we're gonna take out all the Phillips screws by the charging dock area. This time around, it seems that there is more Phillips screws than tri-ring screws. There is a tiny tri-ring screw by the corner, on the top corner by the rear camera. In between there is a small tiny Phillips screws between the rear and the front face ID camera. Then we're gonna take out the first part, which is the main camera. Taking out the main connections from the motherboard, there are 4. And there you have it, the iPhone 15 Pro Max 48 megapixel camera, which consists of a periscope telephoto lens, which by the way has a 5 times optical zoom, and the regular ultra wide along with the wide lens. So also, if we take a small look between the 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, we can see there is a big difference in size. And there goes the top speaker. Later on, we're going to disconnect the front face ID camera. Here you have it. And there goes the LiDAR LiDAR scanner, which does seem to be the same utilized in the 14 Pro Max, so not a noticeable upgrade in this aspect. And later on, when we take a look at the charging dock area, we're taking out the loudspeaker, which is a stereo speaker. Similar design compared to the 14 Pro Max. However, there seems to be some sort of padding or cushioning added on top of the loudspeaker. Same thing goes for the vibration motor. The Taptic engine seems to have like that cushioning also added on top of the outer case. Uh, Maybe you guys can let us know what was the meaning to add this type of cushioning. I don't know if it's to have a better sound acoustic or resonance. Please let us know in the comment below section below. And then after, we're gonna have to like remove the battery in order to like continue with the repair, because in the United States version there is a flex 5G cable that is actually connected by the right side of the phone, and it goes around the battery. So the only way to get access through it is to like remove the battery. So we applied isopropyl alcohol 99% proof and a little bit of heat on the back to make sure that it just lifts in one instant. I don't recommend using the pull tabs. The pull tabs, they rip easy, and like if you rip them, you'll end up just doing a messy job. Just use alcohol and a little bit of heat and a spatula or a spudger with a concave shape tip, and the battery should like lift easy, no issues at all. Then we're gonna remove the remainder of the connections from the logic board, which is the charging port. There is a new flex connection there, most likely for the feature of the action button, which replaced the ringer. And then doing that, we're gonna also make sure that we remove the connection that sits beneath the motherboard, which is actually a flex connection holding onto a metal bracket with a timing screw. This is the first time there is a flex connection on the back. The other one is soldered into the board, but it is only in the United States version. We're gonna take out like the Torx screws holding on the logic board using a T2 screw. T2, T3, doesn't matter for this type of screws. So there is a hidden Phillips screw underneath the adhesive I'm about to remove. After that, we're gonna be able to remove the connection from that 5G module flex cable soldered into the motherboard. So that is the part where it is actually soldered to the board, and that is the charging screw we need to remove in order to disconnect. Well, taking a closer look, it does seem that it is actually the NFC wireless pad that is connected on the back of the logic board. I believe it was just displaced in order to fit the newly designed iPhone 15 Pro Max. And there you have it. That is the new iPhone 15 Pro Max motherboard, which comes with the A17 Bionic Pro chip 3nm, Hexa-core 2x3 78 GHz, and the GPU 6-core graphic, leaving us only with the mid-frame size of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the back glass, and the charging port. So when it comes to the charging port, it is a little bit tricky to replace it this time around, because one thing I did notice in this teardown is that they didn't put too much glue or adhesive on the back of the charging port. Instead, there is a lot of screws, and there is like some screws that are a little bit hard to reach. We're gonna have some zoom like to show you which screws are we talking about. but it is most likely due to the newly designed iPhone C cables, because they're slightly larger than the Lightning type, so you would expect that Apple would kind of change a little bit the way they would find space to implement new hardware on their devices. So moving on with the repair, we're just showing like the screws and parts you need to remove in order to get to the charging port. So by the bottom of the midframe, there is actually two screws where they're kind of hard to reach because they're positioned in a way that you have to remove some components and you have to kind of twist your screwdrivers to get to them. Fun fact is that like most phone gurus who try to give a repair score in terms of repairability design, the most common score we see across the internet is like a 7. So which means it's kind of moderately hard to get the parts interchangeable, which is ironic considering the fact that Apple is trying to promote their Apple Care Plus service, trying to entice the consumer to fix the device by their own selves, which is the point of like implementing like interchangeable backglass with the hinges. So moving on here, like we can see, like we took out the first kind of hard to reach screw from the charging port. Apologies for the focus, it was kind of hard to take this shot just showing the placement of the screws. We're going to apply a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and heat to loosen the remainder of the adhesive holding up the charging dock. Afterwards, use a plastic spudger to slowly pry the charging port up. Make sure you didn't forget any tri-ring screws, because in this case we actually forgot to take a tricky little hidden one. So that goes along to show that everything can like just go down to only one tiny screw. Some of them, they kind of a little bit tricky. Apologies for the video because we're discovering this phone as we were going. So that being said, the charging port should come out now without any resistance. And there you have it. This is the charging port of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Moving on, the last part we need to remove is the actual back panel of the phone. It is removable the same way the front screen is. The adhesive used here is somehow resistant by the top, so the best way to come around it is to use a suction cup holder, even though it is a little bit trickier to apply pressure because it's a little bit matte titanium, so it's not like matte ceramic shield. I would recommend to apply a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in between the process and try to use a plastic card and a little bit of heat in combination. So one thing I could also advise to like efficiently remove the back glass is to like make sure there is a lot of heat, and you want to like maybe use a little bit more downforce and use a curved screen disassembler just to try to like find the gap and open it, and complement the rest of the work with plastic card. Again, I don't recommend to like use the metal part of the curved screen disassembler to like completely remove the adhesive, because it can scrap away the coating of the back glass and you would lose that tone over like just matters of saving minutes. So better to do it slow. And you can also apply in between a little bit of alcohol. There might be some little bit of resistance in the top. I guess they applied a little bit more adhesive on the top rather than the bottom. So always add a little bit of heat. Continuously use the card and keep going, rinse and repeat until like the back completely comes off. There are also some hinges, so you want to also use a little bit of force from your fingers to like slightly like make sure like the screen will peel off. So we're almost making it to the top. There was a little bit of resistance, a little bit too much glue used on the top, so it required a lot of scrapping, heat, and alcohol to finally get it off. Keep in mind that there are certain machines that can automatically remove the back and the front in this case, because you no longer need the laser machine to fix the back glass. So since it's interchangeable, you would just need to like replace it the same way you would replace the front screen. And with that being said, like here comes the part where the screen is being separated from the midframe. And those are all the components used on the iPhone 15 Pro Max in this teardown video, and this would be the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. If you have any question, leave them in the comments below, and with the help of the community we'll make sure we're gonna make better quality footage. Also, if you saw any parts or tools you need in the repair, check us out at TEKDEP.com. Thank you.